first learned about the bioeconomy strategy, I was impressed by the limits of its potential, because here was a strategy that allowed you not to look merely at what products you could invest in, but look at the full value chain and look at what would be the potential impact for the people on the ground. And I think I have a passion for agriculture. I have a passion for ensuring that technologies benefit people on the ground. So I was really interested in looking at how we can make this happen. We are innovators. We see ourselves as supporting the innovation that helps other government departments to do their work a lot better. So while we support the innovations, we rely on other government departments to help us with technology transfer, with availability of land, with collaboration with the communities. These are also all crucial bits to ensure that the bioeconomy is realized and that we actually see the benefits for people in the country as a whole. We look at bio-innovation products. We look at what are the new products we can put on the market. We look at how will these benefit the communities. Can they sustain their livelihoods? We talk about jobs. We talk about niche markets and looking at market opportunities. Those are very crucial to improving people's lives, to making sure that they have jobs and that they can sustain themselves. Secondly, we look at processes that can improve their lives. And thirdly, we look at technology services and predict disease. When we look at the projects that we would like to invest in, we look at increased productivity, we look at food security and sustainable rural livelihoods. Wheat is a problem for the whole of Africa. We have huge capital outflows, we have huge imports from other countries, and we need to look at increased yields. Increased yields is crucial for farmers to increase his productivity. Our investment in wheat breeding is a public-private partnership project that helps farmers to realize increased yields. And the way we do this is by investing in precision agriculture that looks at what are the positive traits that contribute to increased yields. We match that with the breeding companies who deliver these new cultivars to the farmer, and we ensure that there is a full circle in terms of support for the farmer to access that technology through partnerships with, for example, Grain SA.
About 3 or 4 years ago, Grain SA, in conjunction with different farmers representatives and the universities, started a conversation with DST and what can be done. So from that stemmed the wheat breeding platform, and Stellenbosch University's plant breeding laboratory handles the pre-breeding part of that specific program. So the Department of Science and Technology's involvement is that they are the primary funder and also guide in terms of what route we should take with this whole process. DST has been very generous in their funding of the wheat breeding platform, specifically in our environment. They've enhanced our efforts by funding capital equipment, and we've had the opportunity to recapitalize our whole environment the past couple of years. And where previously we were left behind internationally in terms of the technology that's available to us, we are now on par with most of the international programs and leading in some cases. I'm referring here to the new generation harvester that we've recently bought, to the new generation planter that we've recently bought, the high throughput phenotyping platforms in terms of drones that we've acquired, and just experimenting, giving us the necessary space to try out this equipment, and in many cases also showcasing it to private companies who would be interested but would not necessarily take that first step. From a output aspect, we release an annual nursery. Now that nursery is crossing parents for our commercial partners in the breeding platform that they can use. And because of the technology advancements that we've had the past couple of years, and also the hard work from my staff, my team, we were able to already release 2 years in advance material to our commercial partners, which has been planted last year for the first time, and this year again will be planted in their fields. Speeding up the process, hopefully getting some recoup on the investment that's been made in us and in the breeding platform in general a little bit quicker.
The important projects in the bioeconomy with regards to livestock are those that relate to reproductive and breeding technologies for livestock. For example, the Technology Innovation Agency runs a beef breeding and reproductive technologies program.
What we do in animal breeding is to improve or to increase animal productivity via improving their genetics. So we have all the data coming through from South African farmers, different breeds that is saved in the national database, and we extract that data, we analyze it, interpret it, and then we send it back to the farmers, packaged in a knowledgeable way that which the farmers will be able to use for selection decisions.
What is essential to go forward when you're having a breeding program is to have breeding goals. And breeding goals are underpinned by the fact that you need data, you need to performance test the animals for a number of different traits, and you use that information to decide what's the way forward, whether an animal, as a parent in particular, is desirable or above average or perhaps below average for a particular trait.
The additional level of genomics information comes from an animal's genome, and we literally measure thousands and thousands of points on the genome to indicate which contribute to the desirable trait of economic importance. So for the traits of economic importance, we measure traits like fertility, feed efficiency, meat tenderness and others, which are traditionally the difficult to measure traits, and that information is then combined with pedigree data as well as genotypic information. What it boils down to, if it's effectively implemented, could mean increases in fertility, increases in feed efficiency, which would result in savings of millions of rands, because the feed represents the largest cost component of cattle breeding, and also potentially quality increases in the meat itself in terms of tenderness. So the immediate benefits accrue to the farmers or the breeders with cost savings, and then further down the line the benefits will accrue to the country in terms of increased exports, increased price of meat.
Our focus is in response to climate change is advising our farmers to farm with those breeds that are genetically adapted to our environments, because especially in dairy there's a challenge there, because most of the dairy breeds that we are using for production systems are exotic and they are high maintenance, and when it comes to periods of droughts, those are the first ones to suffer, because for instance, you find that some farmers will be sprinkling their dairy animals to cool them down during very hot conditions. So in beef we are also trying to say, keep those breeds like the Nguni, the Brahman, or their breed combinations with Angus, for instance, that would adapt to our climatic environment. And as far as feeding is concerned, you find that we are doing research where we identify those breed types that would use low quality feed resources but productively, or they would use them up very, very well, versus those high demanding breeds that would need supplements and that is how we're trying to respond. And that is the bottom line there is, our farmers need to use the right genotypes that will be resilient with changing environments. We do have some projects where we look for the animal's resistance. We are trying to identify adaptability, or rather those phenotypes or traits that are linked to adaptability, like tick resistance in beef, because it's an extensive production system, and those are the breeds that we would recommend for farmers, and as well as the breed combinations, because in dairy, since we don't have any local or indigenous breeds, then we just have to develop our own genotypes that can be that can do well with the changing environments.
So at the end of the day, to farm with animals, to be sustainable, you also need to be profitable. So you need to ensure that you have the right animals, the right breeding material of economic importance especially, to go forward and to be profitable but also sustainable.
As DST, we see our role as maximizing the benefit that we can bring to society and to our partners by looking at what are the strategic priorities, who are the partners who are best placed to implement and to perform the R&D. In a lot of these programs, what we do is we are coordinators and facilitators. We look at the broad spectrum, we guide, we advise, we look at priorities. And that's the key thing for us to building a bioeconomy.